Welcome to the final round of the U.S. Supercross Series. Hello, everyone. I'm Art Eckman along with David Bailey. A record crowd on hand. And, David, can you believe it's our last one of the year?
That's unbelievable. It went by pretty quickly. And as most people predicted, Jeremy McGrath won another Supercross title, breaking a couple of records in the process. And tonight has the opportunity to break one of his own, and that would be the most races in a single season.
We've seen a lot of outstanding action throughout the year. So let's take a look at some of the highlights, the thrills and spills of 1995 to the sounds of envy.
Jeremy looks back at his teammate as he takes the...
He sewed up his third consecutive Supercross title, so our focus here tonight, second place. Larry Ward, a non-factory rider, battling with Kawasaki's Mike Kudrowski.
Well, it's been a tough year for Kawasaki. Just when LaRocco looked like he might have a shot at challenging Jeremy, he broke his arm in Charlotte. They've had to rely on Mike Kudrowski. He's been fairly inconsistent, which has been one of Larry Ward's strengths this season, and now looks like he has an opportunity to steal second away from Team Kawasaki.
Our very own Marty Reed got between the two to see what was in store for both of them.
Art, we're in Las Vegas. After all, this is the fight capital of the world. I feel like Mills Lane, sort of like referee between two heavyweights, and you guys don't look like you're quite ready to fight, but I guarantee you when they put on the suits and get out there, they will be. Larry, let me first turn to you. You are 8 points in front for second place. What's going to be the strategy tonight? You're going to race against him or anybody else?
Well, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to try to hole shot like that no-lane Sizzler Yamaha is notorious for, and just try to get away and ride a real smooth, good race. I'm going to go for the win, but in Supercross, after about 4 or 5 laps, everything sorts out, and you kind of got to race for where you're at that time. If I'm in first, I'm going to go for the win. If not, then I'm going to look around for Mike Kudrowski and try to protect myself for second.
Let me turn to you, because the last couple of races, you've said so yourself, that you haven't had a real good couple of runs. But the last race, you two were elbow to elbow, and it could have gotten physical.
Yeah, we had a really good race. There was Henry, Emig, Larry Ward, and myself, and we were all four battling back and forth, and the track was really built good, and our Kawasaki's are running good and stuff, and the last few weeks have been kind of bad, but I'm looking to do better and get up on the victory podium this weekend.
Well, points translate into dollars, and that means it could get a little physical out there before this night gets through. You guys ready to go after it, huh?
Yeah, it could get real physical. Like I said, the points are pretty important to me, and I had a nice little conversation with Mike LaRocco this week, and he taught me all Mike Kudrowski's weak points, so it should be a fun night.
Okay, I got to give you equal time here real quick. We're running out of time.
I'm notorious for that, so watch out.
All right. Here we go. Elbow pads. Here they are. Good luck, guys.
Should be a good fight tonight. Actually, they're good friends off the track.
Well, that's going to be on the back burner tonight. You can believe that, because Mike Kudrowski has a little pride on the line, and Larry Ward a lot of motivation for the first time in history to become a privateer to take second place in the series.
Let's take a look at the Suzuki track map.
The main difference here from last year is that they don't go outside of the stadium over the building. That added a little time to the track, so it's a little tighter this year, but these two long whoop-de-doo sections are going to be tough for the riders.
So we can anticipate quicker lap times as we look at the highlights from Heat 1, brought to you by Suzuki. 4 riders advancing directly to the main event out of this qualifying heat. It was Michael Craig the whole shot, followed by Larry Ward.
A lot of confusion in the first corner. It was a tight first corner, but Larry Ward opened up the early lead, and this was the showdown between Larry Ward and Mike Kudrowski.
Some good whoop sections.
That was excellent. Very tough for the riders to find timing, and if you did make a mistake in there, it took you forever to get through it.
Larry Ward, followed by John Dowd, number 14. In our first qualifying heat, you can see Michael Craig in the background having all kinds of problems in that whoop section, number 19.
What made that whoop section even tougher was the fact that they watered the track before the heat races, and you can see some of the riders that didn't get a good start were covered with mud.
East Coast 125 rider Mike Brown making a good move from the middle of the pack, and as we go out top to see Larry Ward having all kinds of problems. In fact, David, 3 times he went through that whoop section and had problems, allowing Mike Kudrowski to pull up on him.
And Mike wasted no time making the pass. Larry tried to retaliate, but it wouldn't work. Kudrowski went on to open up a pretty good lead.
This was the halfway mark of the first qualifying heat. Kudrowski taking over and would go the rest of the way for the checkered flag.
Larry Ward appeared as though he didn't want any part of racing with Mike Kudrowski, because Mike, as we just heard, he's notorious for taking somebody out. It's not that important to do it in a heat race, but Larry Ward looked like he wasn't taking any chances.
Jeff DeMent, number 77, you can see have trouble right in front of Larry Ward. Ward wanting just to qualify for the main event as Mike Kudrowski gets his second heat race win of the year. You expect more out of Mike Kudrowski than just 2 heat race wins.
He sure would, but it comes when he needs it.
Larry Ward in second place will be able to select the fine gate position as Kudrowski, Ward, Brown, Lawrence advancing to the main event. And we advance to highlights from heat number 2, brought to you by Suzuki. An unusual occurrence here. Jeremy McGrath, number 1, and number 4, Doug Henry, in the same qualifying heat together. McGrath almost got squeezed out. Oh, he threaded the needle on that one. You see Henry right in front of our helmet cam.
Very unusual to find these guys in the same heat, and Henry, hot, coming off of 6 out of the last 7 heat race wins, will move up through the pack to challenge Jeremy.
What excitement as Henry and Kyle Lewis go at it.
And Kyle Lewis tried to cut him off a little bit right here. Henry just rode around him, and Henry had an excellent line through the whoop sections. That's where he made most of his time on Jeremy.
Well, these whoop sections in Las Vegas separated the men from the boys. That's for sure, David Bailey, as we see Kyle Lewis now dropping way back. Jeremy McGrath in the lead.
Jeremy McGrath, you normally don't see him struggling right there, struggling through the whoop section. This is the rider's point of view. Now, these whoop sections didn't wear out and create that one-line situation, so it was an excellent section on each side of the stadium for the riders.
Really, the battle right in front of us now is for the final transfer spot. Sean Kalos, who is showing some good speed here in 6th position, trying to catch up with Kyle Lewis.
You can see he came off that jump there a little short, and he's got the pressure of Greg Albertine, a 3-time world champion, who has improved in Supercross this year.
David, it's been a hard-earned improvement because of several injuries, actually 3 injuries. For the first time in his career, he's had to sit down a bit. And Sean Kalos with the bobble, allowing Albertine in this fight for the final transfer spot. Here comes Jeff Emig, Kyle Lewis, Albertine, and Emig, the sandwich.
Emig comes up. These guys, I don't even think were aware he was there. He passes both of them in one swoop, and he had the line through the whoop-de-doo section.
Out front, the 2 Honda riders, but right here, Jeff Emig and Greg Albertine. Here's Henry on the move. Doug Henry was very superior in this heat qualification.
Well, one thing that I liked about what Doug was doing was that he was taking a different line everywhere. Right there, covering that move from Jeremy to try to cut back underneath him, and Jeremy looked dejected and dropped off the pace.
Henry anxious for another heat race win. Our highlights here in heat number 2, brought to you by Suzuki.
Doug Henry, who was slowed by some lappers in the whoop section, allowed Jeremy to catch up and make a last-ditch effort. This is the last lap we're watching right here. Jeremy within striking distance, but it wouldn't last long. He drops the front end right here in this corner, showing how slick that surface is after they watered it. Doug Henry went on to take the win.
Motor keeps on running, though. Jeremy gets up. He will take second place as we take another look at it.
Jeremy just pushing himself hard, trying to do everything he could to get past Doug Henry, to stay close to him before they entered that loop section if he had any prayer at all, and he dropped the front end in the process. So Doug Henry looking real sharp. It's a big win for him to beat Jeremy in the heat race like that.
Well, it looked like he was riding on ice there. Good win for Doug Henry, taking second place. Jeremy McGrath, as the two Honda riders had a big enough lead to hold out in front. Jeremy just peering back to make sure that Jeff Ebbing isn't sneaking up on him, which Jeff has been known to do.
Well, fortunately for McGrath and Henry, they're running a pretty fast pace, and they had a big lead over Jeff Emig. But Jeff was coming on strong towards the end.
Our Suzuki results from heat number 2, Henry McGrath, Emig, and Albertine. By Suzuki. 5 riders in the 250 field making it to the main event out of this competition. Number 19, Michael Craig, getting the whole shot. He's been fast when he's been on the track as we take a look at the Honda track cam and watch them sailing over the triple, some of them.
Well, it gets a little touchy back there if you get a 5th or 6th place start. You don't know if the guy in front of you is going to do it. The first 4 or 5 guys getting over the triple clean. Grayson Goodman right here putting the moves on Jeff DeMint. One of the better privateers out there in this semi. Looked like he had a pretty good ride.
That's Todd DeHoop, number 25, and John Dowd, number 14. Dowd moving into second place. Our leader was Michael Craig here in the first semifinal round, number 19, and here was a dangerous spot from Michael as he cased the top of that, tweaking his ankle and wrist on that move.
It didn't slow him down much. You see him right there busting out a can, getting the crowd into it, but you can see the mud in there, and it was very slick. Probably would cause him to come up short on that triple.
Letting his desire to please the fans overrule the safety factor maybe here as he goes for another can. Michael Craig, a Honda of Troy rider. He's had an interesting season as he goes vertical in the final jump there, turning around to take the semifinal win. Our highlights brought to you by Suzuki. The Michigan rider, number 25, Todd DeHoop, taking a 3rd place behind John Dowd as we see the 5 riders advancing to the main. Grayson Goodman, a good job, and James Dobb, a 125 Eastern rider, making the 250 main. Highlights from semifinal number 2, brought to you by Suzuki.
The early lead was Mike Jones, number 62, a privateer, but Brian Swink lurking back there in 3rd position, overtaking Kyle Lewis, who had his problems in the whoop section.
Number 10, Brian Swink, a difficult year injury-wise. His best finish is 2nd place in Detroit, though.
Brian getting stronger and stronger as the season progresses. Just still a little bit inconsistent, though. I would look for better things from Brian in the years to come.
Brian's one highlight this season was his 2nd place in Detroit, coming after the highlight crash of the year in qualifying. You might remember that one as he ended up on the starting gate. Has the speed, but his 9th place finish in San Jose in the last race pretty representative of his lack of either dedication or skill, because he just has not been able to get it together. The Honda track cam as we watch the riders sail over our heads on the triple.
But while Brian Swink was out front keeping pace with Mike Craig doing a few of his own cans, the battle was on for 2nd place, and Kyle Lewis got the upper hand.
Swink looking ahead at the checkered flag. Gives a little celebration for the fans there. Our highlights from semifinal round number 2 brought to you by Suzuki, and these will be the riders going directly to the main. Swink, Lewis, Jones, Kalos, and Amaradio. Last chance qualifiers, the final 2 places at the gate, Dement and Palmer. During qualifying, a transformer outside the stadium blew and all the lights in the stadium went out. The promoters had to go to plan B. They got some work lights on in the stadium, thanks to a generator, and then they brought in 3 portable light stands to try to fill in the dark areas. Let's go down to Marty Reed, see what it's like down on the floor.
Art, I hate to tell you this, but if we're going to be doing any racing, it may be by the light of the silvery moon. And some people have suggested I start singing, but that would be a guarantee to clear the entire facility. We don't know how long or what caused the power outage, but it looks like everybody in the stands is going to have fun. Do you need me to tap dance?
During all the confusion, Larry Ward was given a check for $5,000 for being the top privateer for the 1995 season. Also helped entertain the fans during the delay. 125s are beginning to rev up.
That's right. And because of the delay, the team managers, the AMA, and the 125 riders have all decided to shorten the 125 main from 15 laps to 10. So that will make the start even more important.
It's going to be an interesting one. We'll be back for the 125s right after this.
Las Vegas, notorious for its tight first corner, claimed a few victims right off the bat. Number 3, Jeff Ward, Guy Cooper right there, and number 6, Ronnie Tishner, all down the first corner.
Number 7, Doug Dubois out in front, but number 20, Jeff Matashevich on the move.
Puts the moves on Doug Dubach, and Dubach did a nice job to save that right there.
The first and only checkers in Supercross history for Jeff Matasevich, a happy young man. Well, it doesn't look too dark from our vantage point now with the supplementary lighting as we look at the Suzuki starting grid for the 125s. Huffman, Pingree, Hughes, they'll all be in the hunt. Chad Pedersen, number 36, a true privateer. He's been in the top 10 every race.
And Art, now that this main event has been shortened 5 laps, it's going to make the start crucial.
The 30,000 fans loyally waiting over an hour for this action that they paid to see take place as we're almost set to go for the 125 main event. Everyone at the line. You should look for another battle between Ryan Hughes and Damon Huffman. Last year it was a furious one right here in Las Vegas, and it's Ryan Hughes getting a good start immediately. Damon Huffman, though, back in about 9th place on this opening lap.
And there you see what it's like to get the whole shot. You're riding with Ryan Hughes, who has the early lead. Oh, a little mistake there. He tries to jump that double and almost gets away from, but good starts for the Pro Circuit team. There you see David Pingree. Looks like he's going to take over the number 2 spot.
He did, and passing Jeff Hedden on the Honda. Ryan Hughes looking for his first victory of the season. Out in front, skipping through that whoop section pretty well.
And a big advantage to him right now, as we pointed out already, is this main event has been shortened, so the whole shot is absolutely crucial. And he's got a teammate back there behind him. That should act as a buffer for Damon Huffman, who's still well back in the pack. There you finally get a glimpse of him.
On the number 1 Suzuki right there, Damon Huffman, he won his first 6 races in a row. Was really trying for a sweep this year until he had to settle for a 2nd place at San Jose last week. He's got a long way to come back now as he bangs into the back of Deegan.
You can see right there how tough it is to try to battle your way through the pack. Guys are going every which way, and he's just losing so much time to the leaders who got clean sailing out there, and they're already up at speed.
And dropping 5 laps off the normal 15-lap 125 will be even more of a problem for him.
You can see right there, he's just poking around that corner, looking for a way to get around these guys. If he goes wide, there's always somebody in his way, so he's really having a tough time trying to settle into a pace. He's going to have to do it quick.
Huffman with another bobble as we go to Ryan Hughes out in front. You can see he's got the helmet cam on. Let's check it through these whoops and get dizzy again. It's bumpy.
This is a tough whoop section, and it's not getting any easier as the night wears on. It's getting slicker through those whoop-de-doos, and it's not forming that one-line situation that usually where they wear down, it can get a little easier, and they're not getting easier here tonight. If anything, they're getting tougher.
Damon Huffman now starting to get his timing back. He's putting a charge on now as he's approaching Corey Keeney on the Yamaha. Keeney with a couple of good races this year, a couple of 7th place finishes, but Damon Huffman smoothly inside as he takes on a charge to try to get back up into the lead pack.
And right there, he was unable to do the triple jump. Now, I'm not sure if the rider in front of him was in the way and didn't do it or not, but he was unable to do that. And right now, Ryan Hughes has the biggest lead I've seen anyone have all year long. You see, actually, he was coming the other way on the track just then.
It looks like the riders are having more trouble with the surface of the track as it gets slick than they are the lighting.
Well, the lighting actually looks fine from our vantage point, and a little earlier when we saw Ryan Hughes' view through the whoop-de-doo section, there was no shadows in those whoop-de-doos, and I thought that's what would be the worst.
David Pingree coming off a victory last week at San Jose. His first Supercross victory has moved into 2nd place. Scott Sheik is behind him.
And right here, David Pingree appears to be riding a pretty fast pace, but Ryan Hughes here has over a 10-second lead right now. He's struggling in the loops, though.
Pingree, with his pace, is attempting to cut down about a 2nd a lap on Hughes. Right behind Pingree, guess who? Damon Huffman has made his way up through from 9th position to 3rd place. And doing a fine job in the whoops.
And I got to tell you, Art, I wrote Damon Huffman off. When I saw how bad of a start he got in the first couple of laps, he really just didn't have his timing. And Ryan Hughes was gone, and now Damon Huffman is carving into that lead right there, making the pass on David Pingree and gaining fast on Ryan Hughes.
Damon Huffman in that last lap cut 4.3 seconds off the deficit between Hughes and 2nd place.
I never thought he had a chance to catch Ryan Hughes. I don't think the crowd did either. Everyone's been pretty quiet, but now people are starting to anticipate a battle between Damon Huffman and Ryan Hughes in the closing laps.
Damon Huffman looking smooth. He's not having any problems with the lighting so far as Pingree, just trying to hold on for 3rd place. Here's probably the darkest part of the course right here.
this part of the track was dark before the lights went out, so I don't know if it's been that tough. But Damon Huffman, who's making up all his time in the whoop sections, and here's how he's doing it. He comes out of this corner and he wheelies right there before the first bump, and look how flat he keeps the bike to there, just skimming the tops, and that's where Ryan Hughes is struggling.
Also, Huffman not having any problems with the triples now. Our Suzuki Field summary. We'll be back with the finish of the 125s right after this.
McGrath has won 3 Supercross championships in a row. For Honda, that makes 8 straight. Are you up for that?
It wasn't bad. I mean, better than good. They did a good job. You know, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse, and it turned out really good.
Were you worried at any point about Damon? Were you aware that he was coming up on you?
Yeah, I saw him coming up. You know, he was charging hard. I was riding tight. You know, I'm just glad I'm done with these 125s. You know, I don't like them much, but, you know, I won tonight, so I'm super happy. I've been trying to do this all week, all year. And the last 2 races I wanted to win really bad, and last weekend wasn't so good, but tonight I did it. The race was short, but, you know, hey, everybody had to ride the same amount of time, same track, and I came out in front.
You know what they say, 10 years from now, nobody will remember that it was a shortened race with dark skies.
Yeah, I mean, next week, no one's going to remember, so, you know, when the check comes in the mail, I'll be the happiest.
Let's take a look at the Suzuki final standings. Huffman the champion, Hughes, Pingree, Decker, and Pedersen the top 5. Let's go to Marty Reed with the season champion.
I got to tell you, what a comeback. With 4 laps, basically to go, you were 10 seconds behind, and you passed him at one point.
I got next to him, but towards the end, I was like just running a little bit over my head, trying to make up time, and I got a little out of control, and I had to let him have it. But actually, I didn't think I had a chance of catching him, but I think he got caught up in some lappers, and I got the push the whole time, and it paid off at the end. But unfortunately, I couldn't get him.
Well, I know you were disappointed when you got off the bike, but it was a great show for all of us. Unfortunately, we just didn't have enough lights to see it all that well.
Yeah, once you were out there, it wasn't real bad, but it's a shame they had to cut it a little short, but, you know, I think they probably made the right choice.
The final race of the 125 West season, Damon Huffman, the seasonal champion. Ryan Hughes, his first victory of the year. David Pingree taking a 3rd, participates in the Champagne Shower. We'll be back with the 250s coming up in a moment.
At Honda, we don't think kids should be the only ones who eat dirt.
Some of them, that is. Only 14 riders have showed up at the gate. Others determining it was too dangerous with the lighting situation to ride under these conditions. And you can hear the fans in the background. Very, very disappointed. Those riders marked in yellow are those who are not riding because they deemed it too dangerous. Marty Reed now is in the process in the pit area of running down Kawasaki's Roy Turner.
Roy, first off, tell us what happened in the Kawasaki camp regarding Mike Kudrowski, and also as far as how the team feels about this.
Well, it's really unfortunate for the fans. It's probably the biggest thing. It hurts. We, take that as, one of our primary considerations. We really didn't make the decision. The decision was up to the riders. We asked them to ride, to at least go out and to look at the track and to evaluate the track. But the group of riders, the top Honda riders and Mike Kudrowski and a few of the other riders, they basically stuck together and just said they weren't going to do it. And, short of physically, I mean, there's nothing we could do. They made the decision on their own. They said it was unsafe. There wasn't enough lighting, and that they have too much to risk. If they go out there and they get hurt because they can't see well enough, then for them, that ruins their chances for the national championship that they've got 9 events left to do this year. And they basically just said it was unsafe and they weren't going to ride.
Yamaha and Suzuki riders were told, try it. If you think it's too dangerous, come on off. We'll understand. It should be up to the individual rider if he's not feeling comfortable on that track. Don't you think, David?
Yes, I do. And, it's interesting to point out that the Honda riders didn't even go down to look at the track. They just decided not to ride.
KTM's Jeff DeMint, number 77, the whole shot. But Jeff Emig is right there, number 6. Emig taking the lead here in the first lap.
Jeff DeMint putting the moves back on Emig, but Emig with a good line into the corner. His feet come off the pegs, but he saves it and jumps his way into the lead. Jeff Emig has found himself in the lead at 4 other main events this year. He's been getting better and better starts, but the difference tonight is the big guns aren't in the race.
Jeff Emig out on top. Jeff DeMint, the KTM rider, right behind him, coming through the whoops. In third place, Kyle Lewis, followed by Todd DeHoop and Dowd, and then Mike Brown. Mike Brown, the 125 East rider, getting a good start.
And we were getting word that it was a decision by all the factory riders that they were not going to ride. Then Keith McCarty of Yamaha said, go out there and ride around, and Emig took his parade lap, said it's fine, decided to ride. Larry Ward got wind of that, and in order to protect his second place in the point standings, he had to suit up and get back out there. Otherwise, he'd be in the pits watching this.
Jeff Emig, number 6, our leader in Las Vegas. He's looking for his very first Supercross victory. Also, we might add, Ward has pretty much locked up second place with Kudrowski not running, but also Jeff Emig could move in front of Mike Kudrowski in the standings.
You could drop him to 4th if he could hang on to a win right here. And I don't see anybody behind Emig, and I don't think he feels that threatened by either DeMint or Kyle Lewis. He's been beating those guys all year.
Kyle Lewis, Sizzler no lean teammate of Larry Ward's. Out in front, Emig, good timing. Doesn't look like he's going all out, though, in certain areas.
Oh, and a big bobble by Jeff DeMint right there, getting out of shape in the whoops. His throttle hand came off the handlebar. Did a nice job of saving it, but he's going to drop another position.
2 positions, actually, as Kyle Lewis and Todd DeHoop get by him. And here comes John Dowd, number 14.
Well, Art, you know, as I watch this, I mean, this is history really in the making. It's very strange not to see the top riders out there, at least some of the top riders. And we understand now that Honda decided that if one rider was going to ride, they all had to ride. Jeremy decided he was not going to ride. He did not do a parade lap. And Doug Henry, who was actually looking forward to racing, he had gone down and looked at the track, said it looked okay, came back to the pits and found Jeremy in his street clothes. So Honda decided not to ride altogether.
A big lead by Jeff Emig, almost 4 seconds. Todd DeHoop, DeMint, Dowd, and that's Mike Brown, number 26, putting in a good ride. Number 111 is Greg Albertine.
Larry Ward still buried in the pack right here. He really doesn't have to do much tonight, just kind of go out there and ride around and finish. So he's definitely taken his time moving to the front. He looks like he's starting to gain momentum now.
The taller rider doing a nice job in the whoops.
Well, Larry's been fast in the whoops all night. In his heat race, he was very fast through there, but he did make a couple of bobbles, which allowed Kudrowski to catch up. And right now, Larry Ward is definitely got the good lines through all these corners. He's just carving through these guys, but I might add that he does look like he's taking his time.
Ward approaching Mike Brown, number 26 on the Honda of Troy machine, right in front of him here. Good battle as Ward goes the wide route, takes the hop, still can't get the edge on Mike Brown. He's holding in there. Brown finishing up the 125 Supercross season in the East Coast very strong as Ward trying to get the edge against him.
Right there, Mike Brown just pinning Larry Ward against the hay bales. And look at DeMint flying through the whoop sections past DeHoop.
Evidently he learned by that bobble earlier. David is DeHoop looking strong, gaining back a position.
You can see Larry Ward right there trying to move his way to the front, but as I mentioned, he seems to be taking his time a little bit. You can't take your time in these whoop sections. If you don't go in there aggressive, you just get gobbled up. And right there, Dowd and Albertine almost pass them both in one swoop.
I wouldn't be surprised if most of the top riders are going at about 80 to 90% on this particular track tonight.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One is, yes, the lighting is a little worse. From our vantage point, it doesn't look that bad, but for them out there, it's probably a little worse. And also, that all the top riders aren't out there. And some of these riders have got to kind of feel weird about the fact that they just jumped out there and rode a race that they said they weren't going to ride.
Our Suzuki Field summary, Emig in first, a traffic jam behind him. We'll be back with more action in a moment. Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium, Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed bringing you the 250 main. Right now, it is Jeff Emig with the big lead. Kyle Lewis, number 15, his best finish of the year, an 8th place finish in the first race of the season in Orlando, Florida. He's in second place.
He's followed still by Jeff DeMint on the KTM, and Larry Ward starting to breathe down his neck.
DeMint, number 77. DeMint's been hot and cold on this track. He's had good areas and very tentative areas.
Well, he's just fairly inconsistent altogether, and I think that DeMint is going to improve in the years to come, but he definitely has his fast spots, and I think that just goes to show that he's very aggressive. You can see how aggressive he is to that whoop section right there, but it doesn't work every lap. You've got to have a lot more finesse to be able to pull that stuff off, but he makes it work right there, and he makes a move on Kyle Lewis.
Jeff DeMent now taking over second place behind Jeff Emig, who is running away out in front. Hole shots are so important in Supercrosses, but even more important on a shorter track like we see here in Las Vegas. That's the topic of our Suzuki Riding Tip with Greg Albertine.
Every rider wishes he could hole shot and run away with the pack.
Emig has the big lead with 2 riders behind him. Then we see this pack of 3 with Ward, Dowd, and Albertine. Jeff DeMent in second place, number 77. Kyle Lewis, 15, trying to take it back.
And for Kyle Lewis, this must kind of feel like a Mickey Thompson race where you don't have all the big names there. I mean, he's used to riding in competition like this, and he usually rides up front. He's doing it again here tonight. Larry Ward, who's lurking back behind these two, I should point out he was really only out there to preserve second place for the Nolene Sizzler team just because Emig's out there. If Emig was out there, Larry Ward wouldn't even need to be there, and so he's definitely showing signs of riding with that agenda.
And to re-emphasize the importance, he could be the first non-factory rider to place that high in the final standings of Supercross if he should nail down second.
Well, it seems inevitable he's going to. He's running in 4th position right here, and even if he got passed by a couple of guys, he would still hold on to second place in that series. If he finished much further back, and there's not that many riders out there, Emig probably would have a chance at passing him in the points.
Emig, our leader right now, as we take a look at Larry Ward, number 11. Coming up through the pack, looks like he's getting his timing down and starting to speed up the pace a bit.
He's got a lot of number 1s around him. You got number 11 and you got number 111 right there together. And I think Albertine is putting the pressure on Larry Ward. And Larry probably just doesn't want to get beat by him, so he's stepping it up a notch. And, you know, I have to really kind of think about what's going on with the fans. This is really a weird situation. It's kind of, you can feel it in the air. And I think the fans are, as Roy Turner said, they're really getting the short end of the stick here. And there's speculation that it's not just the lighting, and that the riders and the promoters have been disagreeing on certain issues throughout the season, and that was one of the contributing factors towards the riders not wanting to ride this main event, and the fans really suffer from all that. Well,
David, I think it's poor timing too to come up with an organized movement of any type, especially when you have the promoters in trouble right now. On our Suzuki Field Summary, Emig, Lewis, DeMent, the leaders in this race. We'll be back in a moment. Of the 1995 season, Jeff Emig is our leader as we look back to 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Larry Ward making the move on DeMent, moving into 3rd place. He's got Kyle Lewis, a teammate, right in front of him for 2nd place. So Ward now starting to step it up as DeMent went down. And Lapper teammate Tony Amaradio is just in front of number 77 as we check back with Ward. Ward now putting the pressure on his teammate Kyle Lewis. Might feel that he's got a good shot for 2nd place. Why not nail it down?
Well, I think he does now. He knows he's capable of beating Kyle, and he's got enough laps left. He's close enough, and probably now that he's putting the pressure on Kyle, Kyle may fold. And one rider that we really haven't gotten to see very much is Jeff Emig, and Jeff Emig is riding fantastic, and it is unfortunate that he's not going to be able to believe in his heart that he won this race fair and square against the best riders, but a win is a win, and he is definitely putting it to him tonight.
Hey, next year, half the fans are going to forget when they look at the record book. It'll only say Jeff Emig won Las Vegas if he stays upright and keeps his lead. We'd like to thank right now, too, Wes McCoy, the team manager of Honda. If it weren't for him and his efforts of using the Honda generator in one of their trucks, we would not have the power to show you these pictures.
Well, Honda always comes through. They usually bring a spare, and it worked out in our favor tonight.
Kyle Lewis getting the heat now from his teammate Larry Ward. This would be no contest under normal circumstances as Ward gets caught behind the lapper Todd DeHoop.
He just makes the adjustment, goes to the inside. He's still able to jump that double there and the triple, and he doesn't lose much time on Kyle. Larry Ward had a phenomenal start to this season with 5 podiums.
And here he goes up the whoops. He really takes those whoops as an expert. His height really helps him on those.
Well, it definitely does. Anytime you've got a whoop-de-doo section this tough where timing really isn't that much important, it's just strength and finesse. The guys that are a little lankier like Larry Ward can get through there quick.
You mentioned that great start, David, by Larry Ward. He started off with 5 podium appearances. Only had one bad race on the season, really, the 11th place in Pontiac, where he had to go all the way to the LCQ to make the main event. Here is our leader finally. hasn't had the camera time that he deserved being so far out in front.
And look how fast he went through the whoop section. I mean, just heads and shoulders above the rest. He's just skimming the tops of these things. He's got a huge lead. You can't even see. Oh, there you get a glimpse. He's got that whole straightaway full of whoops between he and second place.
In third place, Kyle Lewis behind Larry Ward, and John Dowd now is starting to put some heat on Lewis. Down to the inside, and he moves into third place. This would be his second Supercross podium of the year. He got a third place back in that rain drencher in Texas.
And Yamaha has to be happy with their decision to go ahead and ride this race, because as we do our math up here, it looks like Emig is going to overtake Kedrowski for third place in the Supercross series, and tonight they have a sweep.
Kyle Lewis in back of Dowd now. The first 4 riders all on Yamahas.
Dowd is definitely running up front right here tonight, but he doesn't appear to be running the pace of Jeff Emig and Larry Ward. Larry Ward obviously riding quite a bit below his capabilities.
Albertine trying to sneak into it as we see the Suzuki Field summary. Emig is still our leader with Ward in second. Played Marty Reed in Las Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium. It's not the packed stadium we saw earlier. Many fans getting disgruntled and leaving when they found out that some of the top riders refused to run because of the light situation. They deemed it unsafe. However, Jeff Emig is out in front with Larry Ward, number 11, in second place. Ward with the chance to nail down second in the points championship race. Emig with the chance of getting his very first Supercross victory.
Unfortunately, it's his first victory in a Supercross of his career. I think there's going to be some people saying, well, yeah, but it doesn't really count because not everyone was out there. But that's the way it goes, and still in the history books, it'll show him as winning a Supercross in Vegas.
And as we go to the final lap, psychologically could be a big boost of confidence for Jeff Emig, really.
It could be. You know, winning your first race always feels good no matter what the circumstances. The first big Supercross I ever won, there was a big pile up in the first corner that involved a lot of the top riders, and I got away scot-free and still gave me confidence.
And of course, right now it's contract running time for next year with many of these riders. In fact, most of them. Larry Ward, of course, hoping for a factory ride next year, even though he has a wonderful deal with Sizzler Nolene.
I think it would actually be a mistake for Larry to have a factory ride, and the additional pressures. He's obviously got a bike as good as Jeff Emig. He's been beating Jeff in most of the races this season. He's going to finish ahead of him in the Supercross title, so it'd be a good deal to stay with Clark Jones, a package that works.
Clark Jones really coming to Larry's rescue a year ago.
Well, he's got a pretty good package, and Clark has got to be happy, and you can bet they're going to do all they can to make Larry's package next year just as competitive, if not more, as you see the checkered flag for Jeff Emig, his first Supercross win.
Emig, a happy young man, and Larry Ward, of course, if he hadn't have raced, might have lost that second place to Jeff Emig, who got the 25 points for the victory. The 1995 Supercross season ending in a rather unusual way, but a good win for Emig. Ward, Dowd, Albertine, Lewis rounding out the top 5. Let's go to Marty Reed as he's making his way toward the winner to see, was this political or was it not?
Well, we're down here with Jeff Emig. And Jeff, first off, I want to congratulate you. Your first Supercross win of the season. How was it out there for you?
Well, I mean, I know all the things were going on tonight, and I thought, I talked to my team manager about it, and we said, hey, if it's political, we should ride. If it's really dangerous, then we shouldn't. I took a lap, and I think I got the baddest eyes of anybody here, and I said, hey, it's worth riding. I know that we were all supposed to stick together, all of us factory guys, but, once some of the other guys are up there and the points lined up, I had to go. I mean, it's not the best way to win it, but hell, I won the damn thing, and I was here. I guess that counts for something.
What about your feelings towards your brethren that decided to sit this one out?
Well, all those guys, they got a real good thing to prove, and fortunately for them, they've all won races before. I've still been training hard. I worked my ass off this week, and I decided, hey, I'm not going to give it up, just for something political. I mean, we'll talk all that crap later on in the year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And here is the final standings for the 1995 Supercross season. McGrath, Ward, Emig, Kedrowski dropping to 4th. Doug Henry, good to see him in the top 5. Let's go to Marty.
Larry clinched second place. You had it clinched before the green flag ever dropped.
No, that's not true. Jeff Emig went out there, and with his win, 25 points would have gave Jeff Emig second place in the series. My decision was made for me. I had no no say in anything. I'm a privateer rider, and the factory guys chose not to ride. I'm a privateer. I stuck with the privateers who chose to ride. Jeff Emig decided to ride and protect second place in the points. I had to ride. It was not up to me. I felt that it was a little dark, and I think they made a good decision, but my heart was with the privateers and with the fans in the crowd. I had to ride for them. They came and they waited 2 hours, so at least we could do is ride.
Did you think it was dangerous out there?
I thought it was dangerous, but I'm not stupid. You know, I didn't take any chances. It's just one race. I don't have a reputation to protect like Jeremy McGrath, you know, winning as many races as he has. So I just went out there and put on a good show and rode a safe race, and came from behind, charged hard, got in a little bit better shape for next weekend.
Prize money was divided up amongst only those who ran. Tough way to end the season, but it was an exciting season.
It was a great season, a big surprise. Larry Ward sneaking in there to steal second, but I think everyone agreed on the guy that won, Jeremy McGrath, the title.
Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed. So long, everyone.